So what does that sound mean? For me, it means to chill because it's been a particularly crazy week for me. I don't know if it's been for you or not, but we went down home to check on the house a little bit, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. And my son called me out, and he tells me, "Dad, how many times, tell me the truth, did you say, every time we go down there, there's a problem?" I said, you're right. And I have to remind myself that I'm becoming a mighty manifester, and I have to stop saying that stuff because it becomes true. Now, well, welcome to Unity Spiritual Center, Georgetown. We are very, very glad that everybody is here today to join us for this time of where we come together and just kind of refocus ourselves. Because I don't know about you, but I mean, we all love to come here for that very reason. Because as we say in Unity, we're not here to, get punched in, make sure the records are being kept. So when the day comes, you say, "What is your name again? Let me see where you're going, upstairs or downstairs." We don't really do that. So in fact, we think that we already are in heaven. We're just not mentally focused enough to realize it completely, but we are there. But anyway, we're very happy that you have joined us today for this time of collective meditating, collective affirming, collective singing, collective laughing, and collective learning.
Good morning. So, Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. We offer a unique approach to spirituality. I lost my place in line. We are love-centered and all-inclusive. We embrace an open heart and open mind. We are spiritual, not religious. We are a blending of Christianity, Eastern philosophy, science, Transcendentalism, and affirmative prayer based on the power of the mind.
We offer spiritual teachings that provide practical tools for meaningful and abundant living. We envision a spiritually transformed world. As an interspiritual community and divine love in expression, we draw from and honor all paths to spirit.
We have no dogma or creed, though we do have 5 principles that formulate our philosophy. Our foundational belief is oneness. Our fundamental practice is living in the present moment. Please join me in affirming our mission statement. We are a thriving spiritual community, inspiring and empowering individual and global transformation as exemplified by the life and teachings of Jesus.
Once again, welcome to Unity Spiritual Center, Georgetown, a spiritual breath of fresh air. Now, some of our announcements.
If you're here for the first time, we'd like to extend a special welcome to you. So if you're comfortable, please raise your hand or stand so we can say hi and also give you a welcome packet. Anyone?
No takers?
No takers. Whoa, there's Sally. No. Okay, great. So what is your name? Gail Wilson. And where are you from? Are you from Sun City? Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming, and thank you for being here. We hope you feel welcome, and we hope you want to come back, and you choose to make Unity Spiritual Georgetown your home.
You do have more.
I have more. Okay, I'm not done. Okay, so let's get metaphysical. This is a discussion group with Reverend Tommy here. And they'll be resuming on Wednesdays at 9:30 in the morning, starting July 26th. Okay, then there's the book club that meets on the fourth Tuesday of each month at Lark and Owl at 10 a.m.
That's this Tuesday.
This coming Tuesday, yes. The next meeting will be on Tuesday, 25th, and the book will be discussed is Practicing the Presence by Joel Goldsmith. We are also planning on scheduling a new member class soon. If you are new to Unity and would like to become a member of Unity Spiritual Center of Georgetown, please complete and submit the membership form that it's in your packet. So Liz is making up the volunteer schedule for August and September, so if you are on the volunteer rotation, please let her know as soon as possible which Sundays in August and September that you cannot be available to volunteer. And thank you for volunteering. A lunch and learn is also scheduled for Sunday, August 20, from noon to 1 after the service. The topic will be cyber security. We all need that. Please bring a sack lunch and stay for the presentation by John Jenkinson. For additional information and to sign up for the events, please visit our welcome table in the foyer. You can also check out the weekly e-newsletter that we have, go to our website, or email admin@unitygeorgetown.org. Thank you.
A couple that are not here. One of them is that we had a board meeting on Tuesday, and Alice Cooper is you're a new president of the board. What? You're not?
The board elects the officers, so it would be up to the board.
Oh, I thought we had done that. We didn't do that yet. No, we don't on it yet. Okay. I stand corrected.
She's going to be elected, don't worry.
I stand corrected. The other thing was next Sunday, as I had said before, next Sunday is Fifth Sunday. And so for Fifth Sunday, it only happens, what, three times a year, maybe? 4? I don't know, whatever it is. Not very often. We like to do something different. We've done various things. I've done a healing Sunday. So we're going to do a music Sunday. I've never actually done a music Sunday. What am I announcing? Oh, Nancy, yes. Nancy's also part of the board. I'm sorry. I dropped the whole subject because I totally blew it. Anyway, yes, Nancy's also on the board. Anyway, so I'm not sure exactly how it's going to look next week, but we're going to do part of the service and a little extra music. So we'll have the singers here, and so it should be an interesting, fun next Sunday. I think Tom would like to make one announcement.
There'll be a celebration of live service for John Fleming next. I don't know if y'all know who John Fleming was, but he was one of my partners in celebration, and he passed away this last week. And so there's going to be a celebration at 10 o'clock at Unity Church of the Hills Saturday. So y'all are welcome to come.
Very good. Okay, so we're going to start the service now, and I think you know that we like to begin with something that is called Laughter is the Best Medicine. And I'm kind of running a little short on jokes, so keep sending them to me. But I came up with another idea between, well, not just me, other people too. I have a guest comedian today. I do. And in fact, if anybody else wants to get on the list of guest comedians, just let me know, and you can do the joke for the day. Today's guest comedian is Dan.
So, do I need to lean over or?
Just speak.
Okay. So, everyone here knows who Minnie Pearl was? Yes. Okay, because if you didn't, I have to tell a different joke. So I saw an interview one time with Minnie Pearl, I think it was with Merv Griffin, and she told this story about how when she left Grindr's Switch as a young woman, she stayed in a boarding house for young single women, and they became good friends. And one Friday night, 3 of them had dates, and they were all so excited, and they were all couldn't wait to hear about the date the next morning. And so they devised a code, which was when they came into the breakfast table and they greeted everyone there, the number of times they said the word morning was how many times they got kissed. So, it's the next morning after the dates, and Mary Jane walks in, and she says, "Good morning, everybody. It's such a fine morning this morning." And Minnie Pearl says, "So we knew she got kissed 3 times." And then Betty Jo came in, and Merv says, "What did she say?" She says, "Morning, morning, morning, this morning. Isn't it a fine and lovely morning, everybody? Good morning, good morning." And Merv said, "Well, she did all right, didn't she?" I said, "Yes, she did." And Minnie Pearl says, "And then I came in," and he said, "What did you say?" I said, "Howdy."
Let's all rise and with our opening song.
Yes. Walking in the light, beautiful light, ain't it wonderful how the light shines? Walking in the light, beautiful light, ain't it wonderful how the light shines? In the light, beautiful light, ain't it wonderful how the light shines? Walking in the light, beautiful light, ain't it wonderful how the light shines? The Lord has been good to me, brought me from a mighty long way. With intelligent mind and compassionate heart, I took my good every day. I place my hands in the Master's hands as I meditate and pray. Oh, I'm walking and trusting in the Lord. Trusting, here we go. Trusting in the light, beautiful light, ain't it wonderful how the light shines? Trusting in the light, beautiful light, ain't it wonderful how the light shines? Now
Now I'll light the 3 candles that represent the law of divine order: mind, idea, and expression. Divine mind is the infinite field of possibility where everything that is or could be exists in potential. And when we connect with the flow of divine ideas, we are able to begin expressing them in the world through our thoughts, words, and actions. And we share in the creative power of the universe. And now, please join me in our prayer of intention. Living Spirit opens our minds, opens our hearts, touches us all deeply with love, and sends us out as agents of love, agents of peace, agents of justice. Amen. No children here today, but I've been assured that they're going to join us next week, so we can look forward to that. So please join me now. No, we have another. Do we have a song or not? Okay, we do have a song. All right. Please join in singing another wonderful song.
I'm so glad Spirit lifted me. I'm so glad Spirit lifted me. I'm so glad Spirit lifted me. Singing glory, hallelujah. Spirit lifted me. When I was in trouble, Spirit lifted me. When I was in trouble, Spirit lifted me. When I was in trouble, Spirit lifted me. Singing glory, hallelujah. Spirit lifted me. When I was feeling lonely, Spirit lifted me. When I was feeling lonely, Spirit lifted me. When I was feeling lonely, Spirit lifted me. Singing glory, hallelujah. Spirit lifted me. I'm so glad Spirit lifted me. I'm so glad Spirit lifted me. I'm so glad Spirit lifted me. Singing glory, hallelujah. Spirit lifted me.
Now please join me in affirming together our statement of being and vision statement. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life: God, the good, omnipotence. Centered in God, we co-create a world of love, peace, and abundance.
The daily word for today is renew. Renewal is part of a rhythm of daily life: eating, drinking, and nourishing my body, replenishing my body, resting to quiet my mind, and sleeping after a day of activity are all ways that I can renew myself. But sometimes those efforts are not quite enough to sustain me. At times when I feel drained at depth, I may need spiritual renewal. God, the one presence and one power, is within me always. It is up to me to keep my awareness of God strong. When I awaken, I say a prayer of blessing for what the day will bring. Throughout the day, I feel God's presence all around me. When I prepare for sleep, I say a prayer of gratitude for all the day has brought. In God, I am renewed moment by moment, day by day. We look not at what can be seen, but at what cannot be seen. For what can be seen is temporary, but what we cannot see is eternal. 2 Corinthians 4:18. Today's affirmation is, I am restored by the Spirit of God within me. Please repeat the affirmation twice with me. I am restored by the Spirit of God within me. I am restored by the Spirit of God within me.
Please take this time to become still and centered as we pray a prayer of gratitude together. This is the day that God has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So let's pause in gratitude for the awesome gift of being here now on this planet, alive in this time and place, together as a spiritual family. We see every new moment as an opportunity to love, give, create, and grow. We claim the transformative power of our thoughts so that we can see the possibility in all situations. And we set aside the burden of needing to control outer conditions so we can just feel the lightness and freedom that trusting in God brings. We open our eyes to the beauty all around us, and we give thanks for the countless blessings in our lives. And now we bring into our circle of gratitude and love any situation or any person that you're holding in prayer today by simply saying their name or the situation aloud or holding it in your heart now. And now we close this time of prayer by singing together an ancient prayer, a prayer handed down through the ages that affirms God's realm manifest in earth as it is in heaven, the Lord's Prayer.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever.
Our spiritual practice today is what I'm calling give yourself a second childhood. And actually, it was inspired by an experience that I had at HEB last week. Yeah. You know, for some mysterious reason, I've had a lot of awakening moments at HEB. So either my HEB is sitting on some woo-woo energy vortex, or maybe I'm just spending way too much time there, one or the other. So I was trudging along. It's one of those hot 102, 104, whatever days, and I'm in the dairy section, trudging along, checking off my shopping list, when I noticed a little girl ahead of me who was literally dancing along, twirling and singing next to her mother's cart. She was just the picture of pure joy. And it didn't matter to her that she was in HEB, surrounded by a bunch of hot, sweaty, impatient shoppers who were just wanted to get everything checked off their list and get out of there. She was immersed in the moment and just living it to the fullest. It just lifted my spirit seeing her. So as adults, we can get into the habit of putting work and play into completely separate categories. And kids just don't do that. They have a wonderful sense of curiosity and fun about whatever it is they're doing. I remember folding clothes with my granddaughter Haley, and how she'd turn the socks into hand puppets and do little plays with them. And sure, it took us a little longer to get the task done, but she turned a boring chore into a moment of fun and creativity. And you know, we're expressions of God, so we're meant to live fully and joyfully, whether we're working or playing. We're meant to be that way all the time. So what I'd like to suggest is that we invite our inner child out to play more often. And there's so many ways during the day that we can have more childlike fun. Just put on some music and dance around the kitchen while you're doing the dishes. Or maybe sing in the shower at the top of your lungs. I do it in the shower because nobody wants to hear me sing. Or maybe reread a story or watch a movie from your childhood and remember how magical it was to hear it or read it for the first time. Or just do something silly, just for the pure fun of it. And if you're blessed to have children in your life, play with them and notice how they see everything as a little miracle. They can really be our best teachers. The poet William Wordsworth, whose work, by the way, influenced transcendental thinkers like Ralph Waldo Emerson, who we're going to hear more about in a little while, well, he believed that children come into the world with a heightened awareness of their divine nature. And then it gradually gets forgotten as they take on the cares and the burdens of adulthood. So keeping that childlike sense of wonder and joy alive in ourselves, no matter how old we are, is really a wonderful way to express God in the world. And now as we relax, take some deep breaths, and begin to prepare for meditation, I'd like to invite you to listen to these lines from Wordsworth's poem, Intimations of Immortality. Our birth is but a sleep and a forgetting. The soul that rises with us, our life's star, hath had elsewhere its setting, and cometh from afar, not in entire forgetfulness, and not in utter nakedness, but trailing clouds of glory do we come from God, who is our home. Heaven lies about us in our infancy. And you'll know to return your attention when Dan begins to sing.
There is only love, love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Therese. What a beautiful morning. Unity and the Transcendentalists. Today's lesson is based on a great courses that I purchased several years ago called Emerson, Thoreau, and the Transcendentalist Movement. It is a 2-CD set, 24 lectures. And again, if you're not familiar with the great courses, they hire the best professors in the entire country. And it's like you're sitting at Harvard or Yale or something in class listening to these guys. So they're about 24 lectures, half hour each, so about 12 hours worth of material, a lot. And so today will be really just a summary about the Transcendentalist movement. But it will give you a very good idea how influential that school of thought was to the unity movement. Every Sunday morning during our welcome, you know that we make note that unity is a blending, a coming together of different kinds of paths. Among them, Christianity, Eastern philosophy, science, the power of the mind, and Transcendentalism. So unity is a kind of coming together of mind, body, spirit, science, and religion. The seen and the unseen, as St. Paul just wrote to us there. And that's what I love about unity. It just brings in everything, and it's such a big picture. I've been here for a year and a half now, and I've never talked about transcendentalism. So by show of hands, like if you were walking down the street and said, man, I really like what you guys did over at service and stuff, and I was wondering about that intro though. What is transcendentalism? How many of you could actually even give a vague explanation of what it is? Well, maybe a few. Good. Currently, where we're at is that the word itself has become somewhat of a weekly challenge, just to see who can actually pronounce it. Never mind that I don't know what it means, but I know how to pronounce it. Well, some of you actually do. I'm just saying. Now, and I take blame. Shame on me. I've been here for this long. I included in the welcome message, and I haven't even taken time to explain what it really is. So I like to say all the time that I'm not a preacher, I'm a teacher. So I think it's time to teach a little bit about that. So welcome to class today. And if you're like me, and many of you are, then you love learning things, all kinds of things, because you fully appreciate that every little thing you learn is just one more piece of this very grandiose puzzle that we call life. So anytime I introduce a new topic, I usually like to start with a definition, just a simple definition. But I'm not sure transcendentalism is exactly a simple definition, but we can try. If you received the newsletter and you read what I put on there, there are several definitions, and I left them all in there for a reason, because each one seems to make a little point about something that's very important and part of the influence for the unity movement. So I combined what it is. I kind of combined them all into one, and let me read one. This kind of a combination. It says, an idealistic philosophy, so idealism, we'll talk about that, and social movement which developed in the New England area around 1836 in reaction to rationalism. We'll talk about that. Influenced by Romanticism, Platonism, and Kantian philosophy. It taught that unity pervades all of nature and all of humanity. It is a philosophical, spiritual, and literary movement. It centers around the belief that spirituality cannot be achieved through reason and rationalism, but instead through self-reflection and intuition. A core belief in the inherent goodness of all people and nature, And it says, while society and its institutions have corrupted the purity of the people, people are at their best when they are truly self-reliant and independent. It emphasizes an a priori condition of knowledge. A priori is a philosophical term, means intuition. You already have it in you. And it also emphasizes the unknowable nature of ultimate reality, asserts the primacy of the spiritual and transcendental over the material and empirical. Wow, that's a big definition. And in fact, you could just say, what is the definition of unity? All of that stuff, plus the metaphysical interpretation of the Bible. So when you read that definition, it really sounds like you're reading right out of the Unity Metaphysics book, if you've ever read the Unity Metaphysics book. There are tons of things to talk about within that definition, and so I will be getting in and out of it, touching base on things as I go along. In essence, because that definition is the lesson about the unity, the influence of Transcendentalism on the unity movement. So I'll return to that in a little bit, but I want to talk about first the conditions that brought all this, and that is unity and the unity movement about. I've talked about it a little bit before, but I want to make sure we're getting into new member class stuff, and so hey, everybody we're on the same page about this. Both unity and transcendentalism are uniquely American. And the soil conditions, if you will, that gave rise to all of this thought was a lot of things, but the big one was a brand new country. A brand new country based on an idea that was an experiment that had never been tried before, as far as we know. A country based on the idea of equality for all, grounded in the spiritual belief that all are created equal and entitled to the same rights and opportunities. This was a far cry from the Victorian New England most people had come from. Very different experiment. The 19th century America was just ripe with all of these new things. So let's just imagine we got this huge cauldron, and we're going to start putting some ingredients in it, and we're going to create a brand new dish that we've never tried. And the dish is called the Unity Movement. And today's talk, we're going to take a particular emphasis on one of the key ingredients, and that is Transcendentalism. To start, Unity's biggest ingredient, of course, is Christianity. Because it was and is the foundation of the entire Western thought. It just is. Plus, Myrtle and the Fillmores, our Unity founders, Myrtle was a Methodist. She was a very devout Methodist, very spiritual woman. And so they weren't trying to create anything new. They were just trying to learn more, like us, about bringing in all these things. So they used Christianity as their main ingredient. That was a starting, because that was their spiritual grounding. But they brought all these other things into play. And this new unfolding consciousness that we might say now. Do you remember that one TED Talk where the guy was talking about you take all these things and you create a new color on the color palette? I really love that analogy. And so now you have a new color to use in your painting of this experience of life that you're having. And things keep coming together and you create new colors. So that's what was taking place here. So we have this hybrid version of Christianity that we refer to as the metaphysical interpretation. And that's the main ingredient. But there was something else going on. The scientific revolution was in full swing. I've talked about that before. Newton's laws of physics were firmly in place, and God and any other non-material element, ingredient, were removed from the list of ingredients at that point. We don't need God anymore. Basically, scientism, it's called, was saying we just don't need it. So that created another aspect. It's called rationalism. Rationalism means that everything can be figured out through the mind and through reason. Many of our founding fathers subscribed to this methodology. They were called deists or deists. If you're not familiar with the term, this is what it says. Belief in the existence of a supreme being, specifically of a creator who does not intervene in the universe. The term is used chiefly as an intellectual movement of the 17th and 18th century that accepted the existence of a creator on the basis of reason, but rejected belief in a supernatural deity that interacts with humankind. So they believed in a God, but a hands-off God. And their reasoning was that the most classic example is like if you're walking down the woods and you found a watch, and you would naturally assume that there is a watchmaker. And so we see this universe that's very orderly in many ways, and so they assume that there has to be. Now, some of these deists were these people: George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Paine, James Madison, John Adams. Any of those names sound familiar to anybody? So next time somebody tells you that the founding fathers were Christians, and just tell them, well, you might want to relook that up. A lot of them were not. They were deists. The other key ingredient, of course, that we talk about is Eastern philosophy and the power of the mind. Again, not for the topic of the day, so let's return to Transcendentalism. I'll start to connect all the pieces together with that big definition that I had at the beginning of the talk, and you will see how impactful Transcendentalism is within our unity movement. We just don't realize it. So let's begin again with the time period, 1800s. And the person most associated with Transcendentalism is Ralph Waldo Emerson, the great American author. There were others. Henry David Thoreau was another big one. And Emerson was born in 1803. And he was a graduate of Harvard. Very, very smart guy. He was considered a champion for individualism. If you remember that part of the lecture, of the definition, it says, people are their best when they're self-reliant and independent. And you can see that, how many times have I said that up here, that what we're trying to teach you to do is to become self-reliant and independent spiritually. Because in the end, a spiritual journey is a personal journey that only you can take. Nobody can take it for you. Nobody. It's your journey to take. So this influence of taking charge of your life was a big part of Transcendentalism, and it's a big part of unity. So one of the things that was taking place, and I think you're going to find that a lot of things from the Transcendentalists was counter all the things that were taking place. And this individualism was in contrast to the Industrial Revolution, which was starting. It was big. And the emphasis for the Industrial Revolution, you didn't know there was going to be a history class, but it is, it was that everything became a machine. You, as an individual, were just a cog in the machine of this big industry. And science was telling the same thing. We are just machines. Everything was a machine and explained through mechanical reasons. Very strange setting. So individualism was a big part of what they were trying to do. And they were very critical of government, organized religion, social institutions. They created an American state of mind, the Transcendentalists, in which imagination was better than reason, creativity better than theory, reaction to rationalism, and that action is better than contemplation. So that's where we get our fifth principle. So when you see all this stuff, you say, wow, they really did affect us a lot. And so they really embraced this intuition, spirit, and the individual. So let's put it all together, kind of an idealistic philosophy. This is based on Immanuel Kant, and we've talked about that, LGM. Idealistic, basic, what they're saying is that the universe is primarily spiritual in nature. And what do we say? That it is a spiritual universe, first and foremost. So they had that idea. And what does that sound like? Principle number one, right? There's only one presence. It was also influenced by, as Therese said, the English Romantic writers, Coleridge, who talked about the idea of the one life, that everything was one. See, we picked that up from them too. And Wordsworth, when he talked about his view of nature. It was a reaction, and it was also a reaction to the predominant New England Calvinism, with its emphasis on sin, damnation, and predestination. Wow. Now think about that one. The Transcendentalists were smack dab in the middle of Puritan New England. What a strangely different mindset they had from the Puritans. And of course, they had the influence of the Eastern thought. Emerson was reading Buddhist and Hindu stuff before anybody in America even knew what it was. Emerson was also a Unitarian minister. But I think he finally bowed out because he didn't think they were liberal enough for him. Yeah, not liberal enough for Emerson. You know, he also, I don't know if you know, but he was asked to address the one graduating class of Harvard, the Divinity School. And he went up there and he talked like Emerson in New England during the Puritans. And he was never invited back, by the way, because that's how radical Emerson was. So the influence of this on the Unity movement is this, very simply. Emerson was born in 1803, okay? The Fillmores, you know that Myrtle was about 8 years older than Charles. I don't know if you know that, but she was. I think Charles was born about 1845-ish, and she was born about 1854. So already the writings of the Transcendentalists were very much in full swing. And so Fillmore growing up, as I told the story, he had this young teacher, and she had been in college. She had read all this stuff. And so she read all this stuff to Fillmore. So he knew about Emerson and Thoreau and all these people as he was growing up. So the other key thing that it says that we get from the Transcendentalists, it says, divinity pervades all of nature and all of humanity. Wow. Think about that again in contrast to the Puritans, who were saying that God is only in one person. Only. Nowhere else. Evidently, it's a godless universe other than one person. And they said, no, God is everywhere and in everything. That is a very different approach. And so a lot of the transcendental stuff we get is about nature, about a return to nature. And of course, you know, they wrote that book, Walden, and it's about an experience in nature. And I think lots of us are attracted to that nature thing. I think that's why we meet with the Let's Get Metaphysical group at the park. You know, when that first time I started reading out there, I said, you know, I got to get that LGM group going again. And it has to be here at the park, in nature, because there's something different about it. You know, the funny thing is, it's not nothing I was going to talk about, but Rosemary saw a story on Good Night. It was the morning program, CBS, right? And it was a very touching story about a guy who got brain cancer. And young guy, stage 4, he was like, he had the size of a lemon or I don't know what in his head. And he went through all this stuff. And they got rid of it. And then later on, it came back. And they were telling about the story about this guy. And he said he was a big corporate guy. Got a corporate job doing all this stuff. That's what he used to have. He dumped everything. And he got a job landscaping, cutting the yard, planting things. He said something about just having your hands in the dirt and stuff. Just gave him this energy. And somehow he was able to overcome it. And as far as I know, he's still alive. Like 6 years later, they gave him like 3 months or something. So there's something to be said about that being in nature thing. And so it's just a wonderful thing. And we get this from the Transcendentalists. We also get a book called The Oversoul from Emerson. And it tells you about all these things that we in Unity just throw out there that are very transcendental, but we just don't know it. And so today I just wanted to get you an idea what kind of an influence that movement had on us. And it is big. It is really, really big. Because, yeah, we have the Christian foundation, but it doesn't look anything much like the Christian view that you'll see anywhere else because of all these other things that we've taken in. So I found this, and it said, in the process of spiritual awakening, there is one true leader, and that is found within every individual. The shift away from the value of the individual toward the calculated science of mass appeal is a shift away from that which we seek. And I love this final one quote. It says, Transcendentalism simply claimed for all what Protestant Christianity claimed for the elect. I said, that is wonderful. They're saying the same thing, except they're saying, as I've said over and over, it's not about one person. It is about everybody. And that reminds me of my other mantra that I have. Besides that we got to change the way we see things, my other one is that it's got to be about everybody. And I've always thought that. Whatever explanation you're going to give to me about this life, whatever it is that we're experiencing, it better include everybody. Because if it doesn't, something is wrong with it. It's just the way it is. So basically what it is that Transcendentalism is based on the root word, transcend, or transcendental, which means beyond time and space, that which is eternal, that which is everywhere. That's what it means, and that's where it comes from. And that's the effect it has had on us in us seeing life from that perspective, from that much bigger perspective, that in unity we would say there is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, this stuff, omnipotence, that's everywhere. And that's the influence. So I want to take a few moments now to just kind of contemplate today's lesson and begin with a few centering breaths. And as we begin to turn inward, we are mindful of turning our attention to a larger understanding of ourselves and our place in this world, in this vast and infinite universe that we know it's just energy. Energy coming forth and manifesting as you, as me, as the grass, as everything. And we give thanks for all those who have come before us, carrying the flame of newfound knowledge and wisdom. We embrace what we are given from those before us, and we work towards doing our part to further the understanding of humanity, of our spiritual awakening and our spiritual place in this planet. So that we can start to live as we were meant to live, in peace and in harmony with everyone and everything. That is our starting point. That is the Garden of Eden. So we give thanks today to these great thinkers from the Transcendentalist movement. From them we take many new colors from which we can use to further our painting, our understanding of where we are. We remain ever open all the time, ever, so that we too may continue to grow and expand in our awareness and create our own new colors to add to the scheme. We say thank you for this day, and thank you for Unity Spiritual Center, Georgetown, and the opportunity to come together as a spiritual family, that we may all grow together in our understanding and find more peace and more love in our lives. And so it is. Hey. That was cool.
Howdy.
As you know, our daughter is a music therapist, and she's quite an impressive young lady. She's, trying to get her doctorate in music therapy, and she came up with we listened to a podcast on the way up yesterday, and she's doing these little podcasts now about music therapy and things. It's really interesting. I don't know why I thought about that, but music's such a wonderful thing, and it affects us all in such a wonderful way, and I'm so grateful that you all have been able to join us, and of course Dan and Orlando and everybody, so it's just a good thing. I did forget to announce it about next Sunday. 3 of the songs are drum songs, so bring your noise makers. 3 of the songs we're going to be making drum circle noises. And the last announcement I totally forgot is Ray asked me, Ray, raise your hand, Ray. Ray wants to start a Course in Miracles class. And so if you're interested in that, talk to Ray, okay? So now comes the time when we offer our tithes to our spiritual community. Together we say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love, and I trust God.
Everything I see, everything I do is blessed by your hand, God. I give it back to you. Everything I give, every thought that's true, is magnified in kind, God. I'll give it back to you.
Let's send our energy forth and bless these tithes. We bless and dedicate these tithes and offerings as an expression of divine love, and we release them to manifest that love in our community and in our world. So we would normally bless the children now, and we do it anyway for all the children of the world. We bless you, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ you are. Today's chaplain is Therese. So have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week. We'll see you Wednesday on the LGM group. So let's rise and do our peace song together. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family and loving. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, I am, and all is well. Have a blessed, blessed week.